Welcome to day 11, coming to you from the beautiful Walker and reading from Isaiah chapter 13. Now, let me give you the heads up here. We're about to head into 13 to 23 are chapters about the nations. And it's essentially God pronouncing judgment on the nations. He has let Judah know of its judgment, but it's not leaving it there. He's not leaving it there with just their judgment. He goes on to talk about the judgment of the nations. So it's chapter 13 and 14 today, so I'll read it through. And just keep in mind that Sennacherib from Assyria, like that's going to happen. He's been the worst person in history to date in terms of warfare and cruelty, but that will be exceeded by the Babylonians. And so as we read through what God's judgment is for Babylon, bear in mind that it's one, what they've done to the Lord's people. It's who they are as a cruel empire. It's also the way that they've spoken and held themselves up against God's name. So we'll see that in various ways throughout these chapters. Here we go. Chapter 13, a message about Babylon. Isaiah, son of Amos, received this message concerning the destruction of Babylon. Raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop. Call up an army against Babylon. Wave your hand to encourage them as they march into the palaces of the high and mighty. I, the Lord, have dedicated these soldiers for this task. Yes, I have called mighty warriors to express my anger, and they will rejoice when I am exalted. Hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord of heaven's armies have called this army together. They come from distant countries, from beyond the farthest horizons. They are the Lord's weapons to carry out his anger. With them he will destroy the whole land. Here we go. Scream in terror, for the day of the Lord has arrived, the time for the Almighty to destroy. Every arm is paralyzed with fear, every heart melts and people are terrified. Pangs of anguish grip them like those of a woman in labor. They look helplessly at one another, their faces aflame with fear. For see, the day of the Lord is coming, the terrible day of his fury and fierce anger. The land will be made desolate and all the sinners destroyed with it. The heavens will be black above them. The stars will give no light. The sun will be dark when it rises and the moon will provide no light. I, the Lord, will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their sin. I will crush the arrogance of the proud and humble the pride of the mighty. I will make people scarcer than gold, more rare than the fine gold of Ophir. For I will shake the heavens, and the earth will move from its place when the Lord of heaven's armies displays his wrath in the day of his fierce anger. This is terrifying, guys. Everyone in Babylon will run about like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd. They will try to find their own people and flee to their own land. Anyone who is captured will be cut down, run through with a sword. Their little children will be dashed to death before their eyes. Their homes will be sacked and their wives will be raped. Look, I will stir up the Medes against Babylon. They cannot be tempted by silver or bribed with gold. The attacking armies will shoot down the young men with arrows. They will have no mercy on helpless babies and will show no compassion for children. I just want to pause there in case you're going, what the heck? This is not God condoning this kind of behavior. This is God saying, this is what will happen. And this is the judgment that they are feeling because of their own actions. We'll keep reading. Babylon, the most glorious of kingdoms, the flower of Chaldean pride, will be devastated like Sodom and Gomorrah when God destroyed them. Babylon will never be inhabited again. It will remain empty for generation after generation. Nomads will refuse to camp there, and shepherds will not bed down their sheep. Desert animals will move into the ruined city, and the houses will be haunted by howling creatures. Owls will live among the ruins, and wild goats will go there to dance. Okay, pause. I'm not like a wild goat dancing, but anyway. Hyenas will howl in its fortresses and jackals will make dens in its luxurious places. This place is a ruin. This place is a wreck. Babylon's days are numbered. Its time of destruction will soon arrive. Okay, we continue into chapter 14. But the Lord will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. He will choose Israel as his special people once again. He will bring them back to settle once again in their own land. And people from many different nations will come and join them there and unite with the people of Israel. The nations of the world will help the people of Israel to return. And those who come to live in the Lord's land will serve them. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies. Lots of people read into this kind of this Zionist worldview of the people of Israel coming from, like, even in times to come. I don't know, so I'll just be upfront about that. Verse 3, in that wonderful day when the Lord gives his people rest from sorrow and fear, from slavery and chains, you will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended. For the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. But finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again. Even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees and the cedars of Lebanon sing out this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will now come to cut us down. In the place of the dead, in Sheol, there is excitement over your arrival. The underworld is gratefully receiving the Babylonian king. The spirits of world leaders and mighty kings long dead stand up to see you. With one voice they all cry out, now you're as weak as we are. Your might and power were buried with you. The sound of the harp in your palace has ceased. Now maggots are your sheet and worms your blanket. You've gone down to the depths just like all the rest of us for all your might and all your power. Now verse 12, this is interesting. How you have fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world. For you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. I will preside on the mountain of the gods far away in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths. Now, many Christians read that as being Satan, and many scholars would say contextually you can't draw that actually it's talking about kings of the day and legend of the day about people rising up to set themselves against gods. But Babylon is over and over again referred to, and we read about in the midweek study, as that presence of evil, as that prideful raising themselves up against God. So we don't know. Verse 16, everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on its prisoners? The kings of the nation lie in stately glory, each in its own tomb, but you will be thrown out of your grave like a worthless branch, like a corpse trampled underfoot. You will be dumped into a mass grave with those killed in battle. You will descend to the pit. You will not be given a proper burial, for you have destroyed your nation and slaughtered your people. The descendants of such an evil person will never again receive honor. Kill this man's children. Let them die because of their father's sins. They must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities. This is what the Lord of heaven's armies says. I myself have risen against Babylon. I will destroy its children and its children's children, says the Lord. I will make Babylon a desolate place of owls, filled with swamps and marshes. I will sweep the land with the broom of destruction. I, the Lord of heaven's armies, have spoken. The Lord of heaven's armies has sworn this oath. It will all happen as I have planned. It will be as I have decided. I will break the Assyrians. So now it's talking about the Assyrians. The Assyrians, King Sennacherib came against Judah and King Hezekiah. But then, of course, the Babylonians were the ones who carried them into exile. God's saying, I'll break the Assyrians when they're in Israel. I'll trample them on my mountains. My people will no longer be their slaves, nor bow under their heavy loads. I have a plan for the whole earth, a hand of judgment upon all the nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has spoken. Who can change his plans? When his hand is raised, who can stop him? This message came to me the year that King Ahaz died. So at the start of Isaiah, we read that he was king during he was prophesying during the Isaiah. Let's just have a quick little look. Isaiah, Ahaz, Hezekiah. I don't think he goes any further than that, but let's just have a quick look back to chapter 1. He saw these visions when Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah were kings of Judah. So Ahaz is now dead, and this message came to Isaiah when he died. Do not rejoice, you Philistine, that the rod that struck you is broken, that the king who attacked you is dead. For from that snake a more poisonous snake will be born, a fiery serpent to destroy you. I will feed the poor in my pasture. The needy will lie down in peace. But as for you, I will wipe you out with famine and destroy the few who remain. Wail at the gates, weep in the cities, melt with fear, you Philistines. A powerful army comes like smoke from the north. Each soldier rushes forward, eager to fight. What should we tell the Philistine messengers? Tell them, the Lord has built Jerusalem. Its walls will give refuge to his oppressed people. All right, what did it mean to them? Well, these nations that Isaiah's been prophesying will come against them. It's saying that they also have judgment ruled against them, that it won't be forever. So there would be comfort in that. There would be comfort in knowing that God had pronounced judgment against them. I don't know how much when they're not listening to God about the judgment that's being pronounced about them. So I'm not sure how they would have received that message, but probably ignored it like they did all of Isaiah's other messages. That thought of the enemy, obviously they would not have considered that to be Satan. They would have been thinking that that would be Babylon as well. So they're just like thinking about these horrible doomsday predictions, knowing that Israel has already gone into exile, wondering if it will come upon them as well, but not necessarily listening to Isaiah to turn back in repentance to the Lord, though I hope that some certainly did. What about us? Well, for me, for us, like just thinking about the mechanisms and we think about this constantly through the book of Isaiah, that there's moves and counter moves, as President Snow said, all across the world. But really, it's over so quickly. We're reading about these Babylonians and where are they now? Where is the empire of Babylon? Where is the empire of Assyria? God is in control and we keep looking to him as the one who is in control. And not just of our nation, but of our lives, that were there to be judgment executed against our nation, that our job is still to look to him on our lives. And so, what about me? I read this passage. I should have highlighted it, so I could have gone to it quickly. Let me just quickly try to find this. Where the Lord of heaven's armies has spoken, who can change his plans? I'm just going to trust in his plans. I'm going to believe that he is good. And now, as we read this passage, there's kind of the thought of, and these passages that are to come, we've got 9 more chapters of these talking about the nations. It's the thought of, does foreknowledge equal causation? Is God working with the nations that he knows that they will be, and the kind of cruelty that he knows that they will have, and he uses them and orchestrates them and allows it to happen and doesn't step in so as to bring judgment upon those who need judgment? Or has he actually orchestrated it from the beginning? I know what I want to think, and maybe I'll get to the point elsewhere in my life where I'm like, oh no, I totally think he's causing it all, he's dictating it all, he's letting those punishments and the way that brutality is being executed, that's all on him. But as I look at Jesus and the full revelation of Jesus Christ, I believe that it's actually God using his foreknowledge of these empires and orchestrating world events so that his purposes might be brought to pass. Does that make the individual instances any better? No, it doesn't. Like I can't then justify and say, well, that what happened to those kids and what happened to those women, then that's fine because God orchestrated that and God's sovereign. But I nevertheless say that he has a plan in the midst of it all, and that I trust that he is good and that he's bringing good out of everything. It's a difficult one, and so I'll leave that with you today, and maybe you want to let me know what you think about that. All right, we'll get back to this in 9 more chapters of it.